We're here today, and we're doing
Hello.
BG3 characters as decks. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Joining me today is Lisa from Lisa Pepez and Allie from Tao Tarot. Do I have that right? Is that the proper way to pronounce it?
So it's Toe Tarot. My last name is Roboto, so I took the last part of my last name. But yeah.
Oh.
So we all play Baldur's Gate 3. I should specify because there's 2 others. Have y'all played the other 2?
I haven't.
I downloaded them, but yeah, I haven't played them.
I think I asked Lisa at one point, I was like, do you have to play 1 and 2 to be able to play 3? And she was like, no. And I was like, all right, good.
No.
Yeah.
There's only like really 2 things that overlap, and they're so minimal in 3 that it doesn't really even matter.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So,
3's fun, no matter what. So it was a perfect time to jump in, I think.
It was the perfect time. It's got so much replayability, clearly. So obsessed.
Every single playthrough is different. A single choice makes everything completely different. It's crazy. I constantly find new things.
Yep.
I'm on my like
part.
8th well, I should count because I did my post, so I can count like 8 characters in, and I still found yesterday something I'd never seen before, and I'm super excited about it.
Yep. I love how every time, or like you stumble on something, or the story changes because of something. It's wild. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before either, so now it's like it's a whole world that's just exploded. I'm like, dice, Dungeons and Dragons, roleplay games. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Roleplay is so fun.
Yeah. It's now that I'm using my BG3, like the things I've picked up through Baldur's Gate to like understand Dungeons and Dragons mechanics a little bit better. Like it's not obviously a 100% perfect crossover, but certainly like how spells work a lot of times is very similar. So it's now I'm obsessed with Critical Role too, and watching that because I feel like I can understand what's happening.
Gotta start watching that. Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. Oh my goodness, it's like watching a play.
Did you tell me? Is it Bell's Hell's campaign or Hell's Bells campaign is the one to start on? Okay.
Bell's Hell's is 3. It's like I mean, it's the latest one, but it's also like the one that's most, I think, probably depends on what you like. It's more performative than their earlier stuff.
Okay.
But
so good.
They've got it dialed in.
Yeah, it was like I was so focused on it. Peggy came up behind me. There was this like major plot twist that happened. I was like, and I'm like staring at the computer, and Peggy comes up behind me and she says something like, "It's like 1 o'clock," and I like,
where'd you come from? Who are you?
I was so sucked into the world. It's wild. It's wild, and I would have never thought watching D&D would be like that.
Oh, it has made me cry, laugh, like I have bawled big crocodile tears over that thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the cast of Baldur's Gate? They got together and they actually played a round of D&D.
I'll have that on my watch later list for someday to watch because I saw that.
It's so good. That was funny.
Oh,
it's really good. Yeah,
that was hilarious to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
it's an amazing cast. Which is kind of what we're doing today. We're doing Decks Companion. How am I saying this? We're doing BG3 characters as Decks. Yes.
Nailed it.
So the main, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. We've got a list of how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kind of the 7 main characters. Halsin's, it's debatable for some people on whether he's main or not because he doesn't come until later, but we've played with him many times. So he's main to us. He's main to us. Plus we have Tav. Yeah. So Tav and Dark Urge. So a little bit of lingo. Tav is the starting name of when you make a character. So that's why everybody calls it the Tav. It's basically just your generic character. And then Dark Urge is when you play, or Dirge is when you play an origin character that has a dark story, just for lingo. Is there any other lingo we need to throw out there?
The tab thing really threw me off. It's basically because when you first create a custom character, the game defaults that to the name of the character.
Yeah, TAV.
It took me forever to figure that out. I was like, what do you mean? And then I finally realized, oh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's the default name.
Custom character.
Yeah.
Other lingo, I don't think so because we're not doing any NPCs or anything like that. Everything is just
NPC, non-player character. That was lingo.
Yeah, I guess that's what
Yeah.
we're doing actually, because I
That's
guess
actually
the
what we're
companions are
doing.
NPCs.
Besides, because we're doing
Yeah.
the companions plus our characters, a couple. Okay, in my case, just a few of my characters because I have a ridiculous amount. But our characters plus all the main things. So
Characters. Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So who are we starting with? How are we starting?
Boyfriend?
How are we kicking this off? Okay,
How do we
so-
start everything?
This is
We start
okay.
everything with boyfriend, right?
All right.
I
Yeah.
do actually have my boyfriend a bloody t-shirt on today.
I
Nice.
should have put mine
And the back
on,
has
but I
his
was feeling
scar.
uncomfortable.
It's
Has
very
his
hard to
scars.
see, but it has
Yeah.
his scar on the back. So I wore
Yeah.
that in honor of today's video.
That's awesome.
Amazing. I'm the only one without a BG3 shirt, which makes
I'm wearing
me
my
love that.
BG3. Yeah, just my generic BG3. Though I have a nice selection of boyfriend shirts. I wear them.
Yeah, I am dressed in monstrous colors because I have a
You
light
are,
purple top and
yes.
turquoise pants right now.
Yeah.
That totally
So
counts.
Yeah.
I'm still theme dressed. It just
You're
isn't clear on camera.
Yeah, you're team dressed to our run because we are playing monsters after this.
We are, yes.
Before we get into it, how hard was it to select the decks for companions?
Somewhat hard for some of them, but others it was like, oh, like my Shadowheart deck came to me in 0.5 seconds, which I will throw a caveat to. I am not as far into the game as you two are. So my decks are only applicable to the characters as far as I've met them and or watched them in your streams. But I haven't played all the way through the game, so I can only personify them up to where I know them. So they may not even make sense by the end of the game, but you know.
Which is awesome because we'll see the whole arc of their characters through decks, right?
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
think the person I struggled with the most was Wyll. I struggled a lot with Wyll.
Yeah.
Everybody else was mostly actually really easy. Yeah, I think everybody else was really, really, really easy. Yeah. It was Wyll. Wyll was
Wyll was a struggle for me. Yeah, Wyll was the last one. Wyll and Lae'zel I had trouble with. But I think for me it was all the characters that I don't play with that I like. I mean I have played with all of them, but that I don't typically keep in my game, that they usually don't live in one of my runs. Yeah, poor Gale, man. Yeah. He's gonna get his own game though. He's gonna get his own game. We've got plans for him. So we're starting with boyfriend.
Good morning. Thank you for not killing me the other night. Are you all right now, or is today I will wed you with a delicate veil of blood blooming over your white curls kind of day?
I think we should start with Allie.
I think we should start with Allie too. I feel like everybody knows Lisa Knight's boyfriend deck, but
yeah.
And he was actually kind of hard for me because I didn't want to use the boyfriend decks. Because of course the boyfriend decks totally make sense and I have them, but I was like, I want to challenge myself to kind of pick something that's not those. I chose my Tildwick Tarot. Because
that's a really good pick for him.
I agree.
It feels like, I've always said it feels like this super rundown house, like in New Orleans, like super creepy, rundown. But the thing about it though, is because he was a magistrate in the city, right? I feel like this also could have been somewhere that he lived, frequented, or like maybe it kind of represents too like the life that he left behind.
It's also a very lonely deck because it's not people-y. It's very lonely.
That too. It's all run down and kind of old, which he loves that kind of scenery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I chose my Tildwick.
That's such a good pick. Did we actually say his name? When we say boyfriend, we are referring to Astarion.
Oh, yeah, oops.
I don't think we ever said his name. He's just collectively boyfriend.
If anyone has ever seen a single one of y'all's recent videos, they know exactly who you're talking about.
They should, right? Or on Instagram or anything, right?
Yep. 100%.
Oh, we should have picked different boyfriend decks.
I know.
I picked Notoria because that's my OG boyfriend.
Sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I was going to pick another one. And then for that reason, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to grab something else but then everything else I looked at, I'm like, it just doesn't feel like him the same way. Yeah. For a while, I tried to use Heavenly Bloom's Tarot as a boyfriend deck, but it's too bright. It's too, it's not right. It's not right.
Yeah. I
like,
get that. I get that.
envision him coming from that world for a while. I was like, oh, maybe this is where he came from. Like maybe this is his heritage kind of thing. And I was like, no, it's not working.
It's not moody enough.
That's
Yeah.
no, it doesn't have it. But Notoria has the vibe.
It's just boyfriend. It's just boyfriend deck. It's like,
I mean,
It's
that
his
could
colors.
be a statue of him.
it's his colors. It's his like
His essence.
It's his essence.
The white
It's
hair
sexy
on everybody.
and the white hair on everybody. The red is
Just
the primary color, which is great.
yeah.
It's a perfect deck.
Just
It really
feels like
is.
him.
It
I was
really
just
is.
like, I can't be the third person to show that one.
I put all the pressure on you too. I'm like hoping. I'm like maybe Ali had something different, and you delivered. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that was
That was
good.
the struggle. That was the struggle.
Yeah. Oh, so
It's so
good, though. And
interesting
this
'cause
is a very
Notoria-
masculine deck too.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Notoria was
Yeah.
the very first deck that I ever like even thought about connecting to a character. Do you remember, Lisa, when I saw it on like, I don't know what it was, man, like random Instagram or whatever? I'm like, this is boyfriend deck, right? And I showed it to you and you're like, yeah.
I'm like, I don't get it. It's angels.
I know. Lisa was not impressed at first.
I was not impressed. And then the more I saw it, I was like, oh, that does really feel like him.
Yeah.
Part of my struggle, though, was that you kind of immediately connected him with Ascended Astarion, who I have
Yeah.
still not seen directly,
Mhm.
only in
haven't
like
either.
video clips and stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
Mhm.
but then when I got the deck, because I was just curious and I had to try,
Mhm.
and I started looking at it, I was like, oh no, this does really feel like him. And I do think a lot of it is that there's a lot of like male bodies in here that I noticed, and there's a lot of white hair. That's what stands out to me. And then there's something about the angel. I know Astarion's a vampire,
But the
there's
angel
something about the
energy
angel
works for
energy
him.
that totally makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
It's an
I don't know how to
undercurrent of
describe
hope.
it.
Like no matter what message it gives you, it could be the tower, death, whatever. But there's always, but it's not as bad as you think, darling. It's going to be fine.
Yeah,
Like there's always that sense of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing about Ascended Astarion too, because like, well, without actually knowing the Ascended story, that if you really listen and you pay attention to how the character is portrayed and how Neil changed his character from Spawn to Ascended Astarion, like that hope is still there. You can hear it. He still says things that make you go, oh, he's not a completely evil, terrible person. That's not a popular opinion. I have a very unpopular opinion when it comes to Ascended Astarion. Most people are like, he's evil. You made him terrible. You broke him. No, I didn't.
I can't wait to ascend him.
Yeah.
Personally.
I send him a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's more in alignment with what his character would do. And then it's up to Tavd or whoever to help him see that he doesn't have to be Cazador.
Yeah.
He can ascend and still not be Cazador. Like that's way down into like headcanon and lore, but
Still.
His whole story is just heartbreaking and beautiful when you actually think about it. And there's so much to it.
Yeah, there's so many layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a fascinating character for sure. Not only is he hot, but he's very, very deep.
Well,
He's
not bad
very
to look
deep,
at. Exactly. Yeah.
That's
No,
a perk.
yeah.
That's a perk.
Yeah.
And he just is never going to have a shirt on again. And like, I put his shirt back on for my Persephone run and I was like, this is weird. I mean, it's off it when we're at
No
camp,
way.
but he's running around with clothes on and I'm like,
Ew.
it's weird.
I don't know about
I'm
that.
used to seeing him half naked. He's so pretty.
Best way. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I of course picked Notoria too. And what did I have a list? Hold on. Yeah. So he is the Pale Elf. That is his main quest line. I wrote down everybody's quest line because it kind of ties into their name too.
Yep.
So the Pale Elf is the High Elf Rogue Vampire. That is Astarion, aka boyfriend. I picked Notoria. I won't show it again because Lisa already showed it. It's the same deck.
It's the same deck. Yeah.
Deck.
It's the same deck.
I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry.
Perfect.
So Gale, the Wizard of Waterdeep. Now I cannot. Have y'all seen that TikTok of Gale's voice actor doing the Fresh Prince to Wizard of Waterdeep? That's just that's in my head every time I hear the Wizard of Waterdeep.
I have to find
It's
that. I've
hilarious.
not seen that, but that sounds
Okay.
fantastic.
It's hilarious.
Amazing.
Somebody requested a
Amazing.
cameo or bought a cameo from Tim. Is that his voice actor's name? Tim, I think is.
Yes.
Anyway,
Tim Downey.
Tim Downey. Yes. So somebody bought a cameo, and then of course they posted it on TikTok, and they asked if Gale could rap. So Tim wrote a rap to the theme of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with the Wizard of Waterdeep.
That's amazing.
Hilarious. It's hilarious. I'll try to remember to leave a link if I can find it too.
It's
again.
amazing. It's so good.
Anyway, Gale is our very wordy human wizard. Very, very
He's
wordy.
so wordy.
He's so wordy.
It's a struggle. His monologues, half of it, I'm just like, okay, no, I don't need to read all that. Skip.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's so much.
We're gonna really struggle when we do girls and boys because we should actually listen to him in that one.
We're gonna have to actually listen to him because I'm going to be playing as Astarion and romancing Gale, so I'm gonna have to listen, which I think is why subconsciously I skip all of his dialogue, because I know when we get to that run, we're gonna have to
be
listen to it.
focused on him. Yeah.
That will be his game, his run, where we will finally like let him keep his hands and not murder him and not push him off a cliff and whatever else that we do.
Face when that happened.
I was
kind of amazing.
She offered so hard. She was just like,
I just did the thing.
And now the dog plays fetch. It really does.
Now the dog. Yeah, she got over it. She was like, whatever.
She got over it. Yeah. Now she throws it for the dog, and he goes and fetches it and brings back Gale's hand.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Exactly how that goes. It's true. Do you want to stick with the same order? Allie, what do you got for Gale?
Yeah. Allie, what you got for Gale?
Sure. So for Gale, because he is lengthy and storytelling and very eloquent, I chose my Terra Volatile.
That's what I chose.
Is it?
Really? Yeah.
So funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this whole deck, it's very fancy in its art style. It's very old world. I mean, I feel like you could write a piece of prose about each of these cards and go into a whole in-depth story about why this person is sitting there holding two swords and where the swords come from and the lore that led them to go collect the swords to you could just go on and on about this character. So it just felt very Gale. And it's also kind of a romantic too. Yeah. In my opinion, I almost chose the Victorian romantic for him because he is so.
I did too. I went back and forth between these, but the Terra Volatile is a little bit more esoteric, feels a little bit more wizardry.
Yes.
Wizardy? That's not a word, but we're going to make it a word.
Well,
he does fancy himself a poet too, so.
And you also have cards like this, which just totally break it down and go a whole different way. So, yeah. That's what I chose.
I want this deck so bad.
You won't use it.
You won't.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't use it that often either. I think it's a great Gale deck though.
It didn't take me long to choose that one.
Yeah.
But
it was either that or I was gonna go with like real old school like Doreen Virtue, Gale's kind
Angel
of
deck.
like,
oh my god.
He's kind of old school in that way. He's like your very traditional wizard.
He's soft.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a Doreen Virtue deck would I went back and forth between a Doreen Virtue deck and the Terra Volatile. And I finally landed on that one because that one does feel a little bit more sophisticated. And Gale is very sophisticated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sophisticated. But he also has that kind of like, I just really want everything to be okay regardless. Like he just, his world is falling apart, but he still wants everything to be okay.
Yeah,
which
totally.
We love Gale for that, but also he just needs to shut up sometimes.
He just needs to shut up. He's so. I mean, okay. Why are Astarion's lines not big and wordy and meaty and juicy like that?
I'm telling you,
we could listen to him talk all day. We'll pick the Wizard Tarot because on the nose. Actually, though, this deck, this Llewellyn one, is kind of like set in this like Wizard Academy, and like in my headcanon, I can totally see Gale like retiring as a professor in a Wizard Academy.
He does. He does. Like remember Endgame? He becomes professor.
Yeah, he becomes a professor in Endgame.
I mean, just saying. Okay, it's totally canon, so it's canon. Endgame, he does become a professor.
Aww.
So it's very fitting.
I love that. Yeah, so this is
unless you let him become a god, and then that's considered his evil ending. But you know,
he can become a god. Okay, well, I haven't seen any of that. I don't know, man. But
everybody's got multiple endings.
yeah, I can see him in like a Hogwartsy kind of setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
that's a perfect Gale deck.
like
Using his purple
would
weed
be
magic.
Yep.
So
That's a good
this
one.
feels very Gale to me. This is in fact this has been Gale to me since the idea either occurred to me or somebody mentioned it or something. I can't remember how, but there was no chance. This was easy. This is an easy pick.
So you're rolling for companions and monsters. Are you going to use all these decks now, depending on who you get?
I might, yeah. But
I mean, some of them we don't have
left.
Yeah, well, Lae'zel is dead, and Wyll got mad and left. Halsin is might still be around. We have Halsin's in Anil's camp chest. I know that's not a thing. He's dead.
No.
I forgot for a hot second that y'all killed Halsin.
We didn't kill him in Monsters, though.
We didn't kill him in Monsters. He survived in Monsters because in Monsters, every decision we make is based on the roll of the dice. So
the rolls.
Except for Boyfriend, he gets immunity. We get to pick his because we just can't do bad things to him. But
no,
we just have Gale and Karlach right now. I think we just have Gale and Karlach right now.
I think we do just have Gale and Karlach. Oh, Shadowheart's dead. She didn't remember. We bad rolls in the Grove, and Shadowheart died.
Well, it was bad rolls, and then I killed the cow, and then everybody aggroed, and then we had to kill her.
Because we have to live with all the consequences of our actions in Monsters. We don't get to
casually murder this camp. You want to come join?
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, because we also murdered all the druids on accident. Like I say on accident, but dice roll. I think that was my bad dice roll. I failed a roll, and we had to attack the druids.
Oh yeah, because they got mad at us. But we got to see all new scenes because of that.
But Halsin was fine with it, remember? Because I was like, "Oops, well, my bad." And then he was like, "Oh, you did what you had to do." Like I just killed all of his people, but
I didn't realize that Karlach was so specific that like you basically have to be hands off of all of the tieflings and do it the complete right way to get Karlach. Like she's so.
I don't know because we've screwed up so much, and should we still have her? So it might just be about succeeding rolls, or did we do the druid thing before we went and got her?
We did. I think we did that before we had her.
So maybe that's why.
So she wasn't around
Wyll
to see
knew
it.
we were killing tieflings and got real upset about it.
Yeah, Wyll was very upset we were killing tieflings. Yeah, and we were like, "Man, the dice. That's just the dice said attack. We attack."
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
I mean, you have to obey the dice if you're playing that way.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah. The dice and the cards for combat is so cool. It's so much fun.
I think for my next solo game, I want to bring that in too, because that's just fun.
It's really fun.
To have watching you guys play that and be like, shit, I got a wand card. Or I got a pentacle I have to loot, but there's nothing.
The pentacle in the middle of the fight is like the worst because you're like, oh, I could kill this guy, but no, I have to go loot something now. Okay, let me find a body to loot or a crate to get into. It's great.
Yeah. I love that it messes it up. That's the whole point. Yeah.
It's so random too, because you're like, or you'll just be talking to someone like the time Lisa was talking to Gale, and then all of a sudden she failed a roll and had to send him back to camp right before we went into a battle.
Oh,
we're like,
that's right.
Cool. Guess we're not taking Gale. It's just the three of us. It's fine.
Yeah. Amazing.
Likewise. Try killing a couple of these monsters before you die. Lessens the load for me.
So, shall we move on to Shadowheart? She is
Shadowheart.
Daughter of Darkness is her quest, but she's known on the internet as God's favorite princess, which is just amazing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I am so excited about my choice for her. I wonder if we're gonna have overlap on this one. Okay. I picked for Shadowheart the Bohemian Gothic.
Interesting. A good one.
I was doing my deck collection.
She's a high elf cleric of Shar, so she is following until you make decisions for her. She's following the dark goddess.
Yep. So there was something about this that just, as I was doing my deck collection, I was looking at this deck and I was like, oh my God, this is my Shadowheart deck. I don't know why. It just immediately connected. I was like, this is her. Because I feel like this is like kind of could represent the area that she was raised in, like with the Shar. She was kind of brought up with them. And I'm like, oh, I could see this being kind of like this dark, kind of like gothic-y, moody place that she was. You know, it wasn't exactly bright and happy growing up, right?
No.
So it kind of made a lot of sense to me for her. And it was exciting because, let's be real, y'all, when I think about my collection and I think about Shadowheart, there wasn't a lot of Like since I felt like
a lot of overlap.
Yeah. So this is the one, but I am open to being convinced on any of these choices if y'all have something spectacular that I have. So I'm just going to say that. But this one felt the most like the best fit from what I had.
I think that's a good choice for her.
That is a good choice.
She's kind of little goth girl a little bit, so
yeah,
it works.
That's what I kept thinking in my head was like, oh, she's kind of goth, and I definitely don't have a lot of gothy decks. And I didn't want to pick. I almost picked Ian Daniels' Tarot Vampires for her, weirdly, because that also kind of felt like 90s goth, which kind of she reminds me of sometimes.
She does, yeah. I know some people who have the Tarot Vampires as their boyfriend deck, which makes sense for him too.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So I chose my Buffy Tarot for Shadowheart because number one, the purple is just very much Shadowheart, and it's all draped in purple. But kind of for the same reasons that Lisa chose the Bohemian Gothic, she kind of, her story is she didn't necessarily get to be a child. She didn't get to grow up and be a normal kid. She kind of grew up living the nightmare, right? But she grows up and she comes into her own. She learns to work with the shadows and, you know, find her own way. And while she may or may not have made the best choices along the way, it's just all about how she was brought up in that way. So the Buffy Tarot is kind of that forever frozen in time kind of teenage angst thing, because you never kind of get away from feeling about her like she's a scared teenager or a scared kid. At least I don't. So yeah, I picked my Buffy Tarot because I think she's kind of
a cool pick.
She is a girl, she's a teenager, but she has it in her to be bold and be strong and be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
totally.
purple. So yeah.
Purple, yeah.
That was my choice.
That's cool. That's a good choice.
I love that. That's a fun pick.
Yeah. All right. My Shadowheart is the Tarot de la Nuit.
That's a good one. Because
here's the thing with Shadowheart. If you have not played her as a Dark Justiciar, can't ever say that. This deck is so beautiful, and it's very one thing when you first look at it. If you just take it on the surface, it's shallow, superficial, not very approachable.
Yep.
But when you get into working with it, there's so much depth that is in this deck that I feel like is how Shadowheart's super hard to get to know. She's kind of a bitch, and she really,
so secretive.
But it's because she's so damaged. She's so damaged. And if you know her whole story and why she is, I won't give away spoilers. You can see that there's so much depth beneath all of that, but you have to get past this facade she's got going on, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Boyfriend in that way. Whereas he does the romantic, vampire seductress thing. She does the mean girl thing. And you got to get past that. Yeah. But then if you also let her take her dark path, and because like Baldur's Gate 3 is all about making choices with your companions, right?
Yeah.
So if you let her go down her dark path, you see a whole different side of her, which has this super dark, shadowy energy. And honestly, she kicks a lot of ass when you make her a Dark Sister. She's way more powerful. Like as a character, she's way more powerful.
So I just finished Gauntlet of Shar, so I'm curious as to where that's
like.
Gonna be.
I feel like this is her. Like this, all the different aspects of her. But the reason I picked this one is because it's on the surface, it's one thing, and you have to work at it to get beneath it. There's meaning there, but like, see, that's Shadowheart.
Oh, 100%.
Totally Shadow. I am obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with this choice for her in general. It's so
good because it's so superficial. When you just see this deck in the beginning, you're like, oh, it's just a pretty people deck. Sure, absolutely. It's a pretty people deck. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like all cosplay and gorgeous people, but I have had some serious profound readings with this deck, but it takes a while and you have to get to know it. And that's how I think Shadowheart's character is too. I'm not a huge fan of her character in general. Mostly just I think because I've had her in just about every play, and I've seen her good side many times. So, and then I took her in my Dark Urge, I took her evil, and I was like, oh, she's like, it's not really evil. I hate when people say that. I shouldn't say that either, because it's not evil. It is not that black and white. It is not that you're choosing a good path or a bad path. It is you're choosing path A or path B.
Right.
It's just different decisions.
Is shadowier.
It'll be a little bit darker. But honestly, like we were talking about, I think was it you and I, Allie, who were talking about, you can play this game and be the best good aligned character and play completely evil. And you can play Dark Urge, completely embrace with the, you know, the story is geared to make you completely evil, and you can play it totally nice. So it's completely up to how you want to play it, which is so cool.
It's both amazing and maddening, because I'm like, no, like sometimes I'm like, no, but I need the answer. Like, no, what do I do?
Now, what's the
well, you
right
can do
way?
anything. Like, no, but what do I
do? Anything. There is no right answer.
It's like that doesn't work with my brain.
Yeah. I struggle sometimes with sandboxy stuff because I'm like, what do? I don't know. I can do so many things right now. I need a path. So quest help for that. But it's still so open.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's very
so
open.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's why it's great to play over and over again, though, because it's never the same.
It's
I've
different
got like 400
stories.
some odd hours. Yeah, it's wild.
I just totaled mine up. It was like between Steam and PlayStation, it was like 437 hours.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
I cropped out of my little picture that I posted on Instagram. I cropped out. I also have 200 and some odd plus in Diablo 4. So I was like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna take that one off.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's funny as hell.
Forced to fight, and fight I did. When I saw an opportunity to get away, I took it. Finally home.
To Karlach, the Hellion's Heart.
Yeah.
AKA
Karlach.
The internet calls her mommy.
I love Karlach, man.
Yeah.
She's
I love her so
she's
much.
the
That's how,
best.
when you told me you killed the red. What did you say the one day we were chatting on Discord and you're like, I accidentally killed the. I'm like, you killed Karlach?
I killed the one-horned devil.
So horrified.
Well, I went, listen, I met these soldiers at the toll house and they were like, no, don't hurt us. And I was like, what do you mean? I just walked in. What's going on? You're hurt. And they were like,
You went the paladins first.
And she ruined our village and blah, blah, blah. If you go just, take it. And I was like, all right, bet. So I went and just chopped off her head and took it back to the guy. I was like, here you go. And
I just remember, I don't think I'd ever heard from anybody who killed her before. And I was just like, you killed Karlach? She's my favorite character. What do you think?
It was but I literally started over.
Perfect.
So she's my companion in this game, in my barbarian. I love her.
Fun.
That's fun.
That's
super fun.
Yeah.
What deck did you pick for?
So that I picked my Raven's Prophecy Tarot because of the orange borders. It kind of just reminds me of her Infernal Engine, just kind of always there.
Glowing.
There's always some heat burning in there. And it's not necessarily like, it's not always dangerous. I mean, it is literally always dangerous because it's fire, but it's not always, malicious fire, but it's something that's there. It's something that's within her. And there's just always this level of burning inside of her.
Yeah.
And so that's what I chose. I also had this other tarot, which I actually meant to send you forever ago, Dawn, because it's a steampunk tarot by the same creator as the Lame Hype tarot.
Oh, yeah?
She has a steampunk deck. And I almost picked that because Karlach has this engine.
Steam engine,
her. So I almost used that. Engine. But I chose my Raven's Prophecy to kind of mimic her infernal engine that's always burning.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
What'd you pick, Lisa?
Okay. I picked a tabletop tarot. So here's what happened in my brain. Okay. So, and I didn't mean for it to happen, but it definitely just happened. Karlach has become linked in my brain to Viv from Legends and Lattes. Like I can totally picture Karlach retiring and opening a coffee shop somewhere.
Opening the coffee shop, yep.
She's such a bud to everybody. Like she's such
a friend. She's a bro.
She's totally a bro, yeah.
I could picture this deck being all the people that she meets or interacts with or befriends over time. Like, I feel like this is Karlach's world now to me.
Yeah.
This is like how she sees everybody. Like, everybody could be a friend, you know, in the right context. She's so full of like love and just wants to like have people, you know what I mean? And I just feel like this is
and a cold beer.
Yeah, and partly what happened is I was like, well, I was originally looking for something kind of fiery for her. And then I was like, even though she's fiery, like as a fighter, and she's got that kind of energy, I can't see past her like just friendliness. You know,
actually super gentle and friendly. Like
she
as
really
a
is.
person,
Yeah,
it's
She's
like,
your typical, looks like a monster, but is super sweet and loving and has like the biggest heart of all.
Yep.
It just happens to be
Isn't
on
that a
fire.
tiefling? I think that's a tiefling on the
I
front.
really
too.
need the
Yeah,
tabletop
looks like a
tarot.
tiefling.
I've stared
Oh,
at it
it's
for
such a good
so
deck.
long.
It's
Such
so
a
good.
good
And
one.
also I think this was sort of also extra kind of deepened a bit for me because I was using this for all the companions for a bit, but I kept rolling for Karlach and monsters. So I kept pulling this for Karlach already. So that also was a thing. Like it started to build an association without realizing it. But the minute I connected her, because this is also my Legends and Lattes decks. Thanks, Dawn. That's why I bought this.
It is
Anyways.
Legends and Lattes in a deck.
It is.
It
But
really
then
is.
when I realized that she reminds me of Viv and I could see her, I can now picture her in that story. I was like, oh, well, that's no brainer. That's Karlach now.
I
That's
love that.
perfect.
Yep.
That's a great one. I could totally see her running a coffee shop or something
For
like that.
real. Yes.
Running
Or
a
being
little
barkeep
tavern,
or something.
Yeah, a little tavern. Yeah.
serving
Yep.
ice cold beer. That's all she wants, man. It's just a
Yeah.
freezing
Just
cold
ice
pint.
Ice cold beer.
Cool her down.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the fan art where like it's because Astarion's vampire always cold, he curls up on top of Karlach's chest like a cat and she's like hugging him and she's keeping him warm. It's the cutest thing. I've seen so many people
I love that.
draw that. I'll see if I can find one and send it to you because it's super cute because you know everybody's like he's a stray cat, right? That's what his character is like based off of. So he's
He
like
is a
curled up
cat.
like a little stray cat on
Yep.
her chest and she's like holding
I might have
him.
to play. Can we play as Karlach?
I think you
Absolutely.
can. I think you can play as all the
You can
orcs.
play as any Kenny because you
I
were
might
gonna
have to play as Karlach and Romance Astarion. I might have
That's
to
a
do that.
great.
They're so cute together. I
They're
love
so
them
cute
together.
I just realized with our co-op game, I'm romancing her, but Josh has Shadowheart, so I don't get to run around with Astarion and Karlach. So I'm still missing out on their bro dialogue, even though I have them.
Their
now.
banter is really good.
Ridiculous.
So good. It's so good. Their banter's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dawn, what'd you pick?
All right. Well, I definitely went with the fiery. I went with the Tarot de Fuego.
Yeah.
Because
Nice.
like, okay, so it's fiery, yeah, but it's
Yep.
also like just super fun. And Karlach, like if you watch her, that girl's always dancing. She's always got a little,
there and dances
always
if you're not
like
doing
this
something.
little jig going on. She's just like
Yep.
having a good time. But then she's like, I would like to rage, please.
Yeah.
And Barbarian, she rages, and then it's just like, then she does this, right? But in the meantime, she's just like dancing, having a good old time,
hanging out.
just hanging
Yep.
out. She's like vibrant and colorful. And of course, there's the fiery thing, but when it comes time to like, you know, Barbarian Hulk smash stuff, she's your girl.
She's great. She's a tank.
She's definitely a tank. So yeah, this is the one I picked for her.
I love that.
And I had to hunt all over. I spent like 20 minutes hunting down where did I stick this deck after my big like cleanup because I was like, that's the one I need for Karlach. Totally my Karlach deck.
I knew you were gonna pick that one too. I was like, that's gonna be Dawn's Karlach deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't played with Karlach a ton. I mean, I have seen her end game, which oh my gosh, you guys, her end game is.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
no, I haven't seen it.
It's so good.
I just want all the good things for her. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost picked the teddy bear tarot for her because
yeah,
it's adorable.
Teddy bears,
she has teddy bears.
Yeah.
She's got a teddy bear thing. Yeah.
That
it almost
been
might
a
save that
cute
deck
one
for
for
me,
her.
but it would be. And it was like the one card that I struggle so much with that I won't shut up about is the Ten of Swords because it's all bloody and doesn't make any sense with the deck. But then I'm like, if it was Karlach's deck, that kind of makes sense.
That
So I
would
was
make
like this
sense.
close to going teddy bear tarot with her. And then I was like, oh, but nah.
Maybe that's Karlach's Decks deck. It's her Decks companion. The tabletop's companion, the teddy bear.
There you go.
Just use them together.
Yeah, there you go.
That made no sense, but like we're gonna say
it makes sense to me.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay.
It makes total sense.
Yep.
The deck needs a deck. This is like me with my notebooks. My notebooks need a notebook. They all need a pet.
Yeah.
All of my big notebooks have a
Pets.
pet little notebook. Pet decks. That should be a thing. Let's make that a thing next. Pet decks.
Pet decks.
I like it.
Mhm.
I'm a fan.
Abomination. This is your end.
All right. Shall we move on to Lae'zel,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
Yankee Warrior?
I'm really curious what y'all picked because I knew what I was going to pick, but I don't know that it's it makes sense to me. Anyways, I'm curious about you, Allie. What'd you pick?
So Lae'zel took me like less than a quarter of a second. She was actually my very first pick.
Really?
I picked my Bohemian Gothic because
Ah.
Lae'zel, quite frankly, she's kind of an impatient asshole, and
Yeah.
she doesn't mince words. She doesn't tolerate waiting. She's not patient, and she
Mhm.
really could not care less about sparing your feelings.
Yeah.
True.
And that's this deck for me. Like this deck has given me readings where it's just like, I don't care. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Deal
like,
with it.
why do you have to be so mean? And it's not even that it's mean. It's just doesn't have time to flatter you. It doesn't have time to coddle you. It doesn't have time to make things nice. It just, here's the point. Now what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
So to me, this was definitely my Lae'zel deck, was my Bohemian Gothic. One of my favorite decks that I have in my collection to this day. I have like 5 versions of it, but
Nice.
it's an asshole.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that.
Have you played with Lae'zel much?
I have, yeah. I have her in every game that I'm in, and I'm actually like simultaneously romancing her and Astarion in my solo game. I've
she's real easy to romance.
Both of them. She's very
Yes, it's like, hey, you killed
like,
that thing. That's hot. Let's do it.
Well, the day that she told me, she was like, I like your smell. The way that you smell just really, and I'm like, oh, all right. Well, let's see what happens.
Cool.
And I know that at some point, or so I've read, Astarion like is aware of it, but at some point he's gonna tell me like, okay, pick. And obviously it's gonna be him. But until then, I'm like, why not? Porque no los dos?
He's fine with it until he catches real feelings. Then he's like, oh wait, no.
Right. And see, that'll be a badge of honor for me, is when he gets to that point that I'll know, and then I'll be like, all right, we've arrived.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there you go.
she's also another tank character. I mean, she's a fighter. So she's so useful no matter where you go. Big sword, must swing.
Yeah.
That's Lae'zel.
Yeah.
I love her.
You need shit killed. That's Lae'zel's your girl.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
She's rough around the edges, but she's pretty epic.
She's fascinating.
She is fascinating. I
Mm.
think she's also supposed to be the youngest of all the characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's super young.
She's super young. Yeah.
I just picked the RWS for her because I was like, that's the only deck Lae'zel would use. She'd be like, well, that's the right one. So why are
Classic
you
fighter.
Tradition.
What do you need that for? Like, why do you need all that fluff? Why do you need anything else? This is the one. Like,
what's a thoth? Why?
Yeah.
That so fits for her.
Yeah.
That really
she
does.
Would like literally be like she's such a rule follower, and she's so like literal. She'd be like, this is what tarot is. So like, why are you bothering with any of that other shit? Like, I don't understand. She would be the chick that would have like one tarot deck, and she would like totally look down her nose at anybody who had other ones. She'd be like, why? You know.
And she would absolutely read by the book.
Yes.
Like, absolutely read by the book. No intuition, just this is what it is.
This is what it means.
This is very rote, very
I love that. That's
very this is how I was taught. And as soon as she was actually really quick for me, because I was like, well, there's only one choice, because she wouldn't want to break the rules, you know?
Yeah.
She's very much a rule follower. So yeah, that was as soon as I realized, I was like, yeah, that's the one for me. That's the one.
That's actually a great pick.
Perfect. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. I picked Goblins and Gardens.
Oh, that's a good one. I love that.
Because this deck is like, is it upside down? And so it's upside down. It's kind of just brutal in your face. Like, it is what it is. Deal with it, which is totally Lae'zel's energy. But also, it's like, it doesn't know, is it pretty or ugly? It doesn't know. Not that I'm saying Lae'zel's pretty or ugly, but like, she doesn't care. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This deck does not care.
Yeah.
It does what it needs to do to get the message across, and it doesn't care if it looks good or not. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's got this weird mix of like D&D. These are all from D&D books. And then it's got the collage with the photographs, which is sometimes just like weird, like there's just a weird basket of fruit on the head. I mean, it's the Empress, but like it doesn't give a shit.
So much.
This deck does not give a shit, and I love it.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. I love it.
The hype. But it makes so much sense for Lae'zel for exactly the reason you're describing, though. I totally get it.
She's just like, I really don't care what you think about me, or like, I'm not here to fucking impress you.
Let's get the job
I'm
done.
here to do my job, and this is what's happening.
I really like the devil card in that deck. It's just like this
The
little
devil
monster
card
hiding in
in
a
this
bunch of
deck is
strawberries. Like it's the
amazing.
coolest card.
It's the coolest thing. I don't know if I can find it, but it like doesn't pretend to be anything it's not. I mean, it's just a giant egg. I mean, come on.
What card is that? What card is that? I need to know.
It's the Ace of Coins.
It really should have been the Ace of Wands. I'm just saying.
I'm just
Giant eggplant.
I mean,
That would be
just saying.
perfect.
Okay, this Hanged Man though, I love this Hanged Man because it like totally gives me He-Man She-Ra vibes.
Yeah.
And
This
it's just, I don't know.
deck
It's
is
so unapologetic.
awful.
It's just like I'm weird. Like
It's
check
awful,
this one out.
but it's great because it's awful.
Right? Look at this.
Yeah.
Like I'm weird. Deal with it.
Yep.
Like,
I
so,
cannot.
It's so Lae'zel energy though. She's
It
just
is,
like,
it
man,
is.
I'm not here to impress you. You cannot like me. I really don't care. I will do my job. And just like get out of my way.
Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
So for Will, I picked my Game of Thrones tarot
I was wondering.
because Will is all about honor and about pride and where you come from and your story and what is right and justice. And that's kind of in alignment with how I feel Brynn of Tarth, specifically from Game of Thrones, is. It's just it's all about who you are, where you come from, and your story, and that's who you fight for. That is what matters more than anything else. And so so I picked this for Will because it kind of fits.
That's a good pick.
Or so
I love that. That's a great pick. I actually
That's a
almost
good pick.
grabbed Game of Thrones for him for the same reason.
I love it. I love it. He took
Good
me.
pick.
It took
That's
me
a
a
good pick.
minute to decide for him, but
Yeah, he was my hardest,
love it.
but
yeah,
it's a good
and
one.
I have it in this little pouch that I got, and it's even got a little tiny sword charm on the front of it.
That's
So I'm like,
cute.
that's
so
definitely
cute.
Will.
That's amazing.
It's his little packed weapon.
Yeah, it's perfect. For the same reason, actually, I picked the Arthurian tarot.
Oh, okay.
He would have totally been in Arthurian time a knight around the round
Yes,
table.
that's
For
a
sure.
great pick for him.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I freaking love this for him so much. This is the world that I think his kind of headcanon of how he views the world. It's very much honor and loyalty and
Tradition.
truth above all, and tradition. Yeah, he's very and there's a romance to this deck too. There's that romantic side of him that I think this really captures. He's got that Lancelot-esque kind of energy. Very sweet and tender, and yeah, I've seen little clips of videos showing him, and I'm like, this is, if he was in this time period, this he would have been 100% at home. As soon as it occurred to me, I was like, I need something like with knights and like honor, and like that's why I almost went for Game of Thrones, and then I realized I had this, and I'm like, no, this is perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah,
that's a great
pick for him.
What'd you pick
All
for
right,
Will?
Back to these picks. I picked Heaven and Hell.
Ooh,
because he's
that's
such a good
perfect.
boy, and he's just like, if you do not do what is right, as we found out in our last Monsters game,
he's out.
He's out, man.
No
He's
tolerance.
like, you killed people, I'm out. I think he even told us, you're taking a dark path and I can't walk it. And we're like, we were just playing, man. If you can't handle our playing, we weren't even being
that he
serious.
said that after we shoved him around camp for a while, though.
It was pretty ironic that, like we shoved him around camp. I shoved him in the water. You were asking if we could just kill him. And then he just went, I don't think this is okay.
He made the decision for you.
I think it was that we killed one tiefling and
the tiefling you had knocked unconscious. I just finished the job. And he was like, I'm out. We were like, we're just having a party, man. Like, I just gotta get all happy about it. Just like killing some people. Anyway, this deck, it's also very traditional, very Rider-Waite Smith. It sticks with tradition very, very closely.
Yeah.
It's even got the Golden Dawn titles on it, but it's also so like, it's so black and white in terms of good or bad. And I feel like that's Wyll. Like if you're bad at all, he's done. He doesn't want anything to do with you. I will say though, in my very first play, when I did my very first play of BG3 with my husband, and he pissed Astarion off, so I couldn't romance him. He says he didn't do it intentionally, but we'll see. Anyway, so I romanced Wyll instead, and like his romance arc though is it's really sweet, but man, you don't get nothing until like all of a sudden he proposes, and you're like,
what?
All right, cool. I guess we're here. And then I turned him down, and then he was like, I can't talk to you anymore. And I'm like, oh, well, that was rude. And Kevin doesn't let me re-roll. So there's no scum saving when I play with him. I deal with whatever action I took, and he makes me live with it. So I was like, wait, I broke his heart. Can you reload? He's like, nope, deal with it.
That's Josh too, though.
He's super sweet.
Yeah.
But he's kind of goody for the way I play, so he never makes it in any of my runs. He's always like, I'm out. Year 2.
I'm counting down the days till he leaves in my game, honestly.
It really doesn't take a ton.
It doesn't. It's not hard.
What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can.
It's daddy time. Okay, so
Lisa, please do.
Halsin is the arch druid of the Grove. He's a wood elf druid, and he is canon known as Daddy Halsin, which most people don't know. It's canon, y'all. It's canon. It's not just Lisa and I going, ooh, look at Daddy over there.
But in fairness, I called him that before I knew it was canon.
That's true. You did. So now he's Daddy. It's Daddy and boyfriend. Like we give everybody names. It's just what we do.
His was easy.
Hey, Lisa, go. What's your Halsin deck?
Terror of a Hidden Realm.
What else?
This is 1000% his world. This is what the Wood Elf Druid.
I had to rebuy that deck because of you.
It's totally him. This is
the Wood Elf deck.
And you know what's cool is I can see the aces being Halsin in various wild chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Is there a bear?
So
is there a bear anywhere?
I don't think there's a bear. It's like there's a badger, like an otter,
a salmon,
an otter.
Yeah, there's the badgers.
I don't remember what the other one is. I had that deck.
I don't think there is a bear. It'd be amazing if there was. I don't think there is though. Oh yeah, there's the little hedgehog.
That's what it is.
Yeah, there's the little hedgehog.
That's a great pick.
1000%. Oh, and then the heron or crane. What is that? Is that a heron? That's a heron, right? Or crane?
I think that's a heron. I don't know.
I'm bad at animals.
I don't know my birds.
But yeah, this is like this. Like he would like legit. That would be one of his lovers. Like it's.
One of his many lovers.
One of his many lovers. This legitimately feels like his world. There's no question. Yeah, there's no question.
When
no
does
bears.
he start wanting to run around with you once you get to Moonrise? Because I have him at my camp. I've had him at my camp forever, but he just wants to stay put.
Yeah, you have to wait until you break the shadow curse, don't you? Pretty much.
You have to do his. Yeah, you have to do his. So his main quest is actually break the shadow curse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to actually do his main quest before he will join your party.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that day.
Then you can take all of his clothes off and let him run around like a big beefy wood elf.
Yeah.
Like Lisa did, which is so funny.
The only thing I want taking his clothes off is Astarion, and really only from the waist up.
Yeah.
What was it? Some outfit you guys had him in that it was like a BDSM type of outfit where there's just like two straps across his chest. I was like, freaking hell. That's amazing.
It's such a perfect outfit for him. Didn't we get that outfit at the whorehouse? I think we did.
I think we did. I think that was a whorehouse outfit. Yeah.
I think so love too. That. Yeah.
I mean, okay. Running with Halsin and boyfriend was great. With Daddy and boyfriend was great. If he just would not eat your face, like that was.
It was the mouthy kisses. If he would I wish he had just the forehead kiss. Like you could have like a friendly relationship with him, and then the only kiss you'd get would be the forehead kiss. That would be perfect because that fits my headcanon for him. Hugs and forehead kisses from Halsin only.
Forehead kisses,
and then all the other kinds of kisses with other characters, that's fine. But like Halsin is not.
Well,
the
Barb
kisses
did
were
say that
no.
they redid his kisses. I haven't seen them, so.
Oh,
doesn't he also like have an intimate scene, shall we say, as a bear?
There's an option if you have an intimate scene with him to let him stay in his bear form. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's so funny.
Did you took him to the whorehouse, and so I should say Celestia took him to the whorehouse. Wasn't he in bear form? She rode him around as a bear.
There was a dialogue option. It was all dark. It was all dark. It was a black screen, and it was getting narrated.
You didn't get to see it. It was just dialogue.
He flipped into his bear form, and you had an option to like ride him around the room. And then I was like, okay, that sounds fun. So I read him, and then it describes how you're literally riding him around the room naked. So you're naked, and it was describing it. And then everybody wakes up in this big poly pile in the morning.
And Halsin's in his bear form.
It's 100%. Everybody's cuddling with Halsin in his bear form. It is amazing.
Who knew that he was such a gentleman
bringing Halsin along. Yeah, he is. He's very open-minded. Yeah,
we love that for him. That's funny.
Yeah, we do love that for him. It's so funny.
The stuff we end up finding in that game that we can do is just we're like, oh, look what we found.
Cut to hours at a time of porn creation. Yes,
porn creation. I mean, we have mastered the porn creation.
We really have. We do so many inappropriate things in that game. It's wild.
It's great,
but it's awesome though. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
It's fantasy. No. Like this is the difference between fantasy and reality. Lisa and I do not go around riding bears in real life. It just wouldn't be appropriate. Or really romancing vampires or anything.
Or boys at all.
Or Lisa doesn't do boys at all. But in BG3, Lisa does certain boys.
Yeah, only the one. Only the one. And some snuggles with the other. Well, actually,
and snuggles with the other.
I did fully romance Halsin for a minute.
Romance Halsin for a bit, but then he kept mouth kissing you, and you were like, "Yeah, no,
it's not okay."
And then you broke up with him.
And then I felt really bad. Yeah, but
yeah.
Man.
All right. What's your Halsin deck, Allie?
So I chose my Druidcraft Tarot because it's
same. You and I picked so many of the same decks.
Is that what you picked
too?
That's funny. Okay. Well then you show it this time. But yeah, to me it just seems like the area where he would be. It seems like it seems like you're looking at the Druid's Grove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little bit more masculine and like beefy in a way than the one that I showed, the Hidden Realm. It's a little bit more like
it definitely does have a more masculine feel, which I don't. There aren't that many decks that I have that lean masculine, but this is definitely one of them. And it's like one of my favorites by far.
I mean, like this I feel like that's a good.
Yeah,
I love that 3 of Cups because I think it's the only one I've ever seen with it's all guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like this is him at the end of his long life going, man, you guys, like you were a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how y'all. You were a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
I have the Wildwood too, but that seems to like, I think Lisa, you might have actually, it may have been in one of your last videos where you were kind of discussing both. And it was like the Wildwood is much more literally wild. And the Druidcraft is wild, but it's more sophisticated wild. It's more like, okay, but we are humans and we have society. You know what I mean? Like we have decorum and so
also like Halsin is the Archdruid, so he's in charge.
Right.
He's the main Druid man. And I feel like the Druidcraft just really just captures that sort of traditional but in charge. Like it is what it is. It's solid. Yeah. This deck is solid. Halsin is solid, right?
I really like that for a Halsin pick. I'd be really torn between that and Hidden Realm because that definitely feels like the place he would like. It feels like the Druid Grove.
The Tavs. So our characters. Tab decks.
All right.
All right, Allie, tell us about your Tav.
So my Tav is Rowan, Rowynn. She is a bard, but I multi-classed her with something else. And of course, true to my character, I can't remember what I multi-classed her with, but she's multi-classed somewhere. I believe I made her a rogue bard, I think.
That's a good combo.
And I picked my Tarot Sacred Kingdoms because I almost picked the main Dungeons and Dragons tarot, but I decided to go for this because this to me feels like every single card feels like a precipice where you're like, okay, so now you find this horse. Now you have to go retrieve XYZ, or okay, now sit before this mirror and what do you choose to do? It kind of seems like every card is like, okay, so now you're here with the story. Now what? It feels very Dungeons and Dragons without being Dungeons and Dragons.
That's the deck I paired with that, which is familiar that Krista made me do it.
I saw you pair those, and I almost
they're
picked
really
up that
good
Familiars
together.
deck just to do it. But
they're so good
Indie
together.
deck?
It's on Amazon.
It is an indie deck.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it
an
through
indie deck, but it is
Kickstarter, but they're selling it on Amazon now too.
They're selling it on Amazon now, yeah.
Yeah. And it has like this delicious matte black gilding, which is just perfect. It does have this in here though, but I think it's because of the blue foil, I think kind of makes it bowed. But yeah, it's just fantastic. And actually,
I can send you the link, Lisa. I've got it saved in my files.
It's a good one.
Oh,
Lisa.
not me, just looking it up right now. It's
No.
fine.
It's not called on Amazon. It's not called Tarot of Sacred Kingdoms. It's called something else.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Earth Moon Magic, the Tarot of Sacred
Earth Moon
Kingdoms.
Magic is okay.
Yeah, they're the creators.
Yeah.
But when we got the Kickstarter originally, the decks came out and they were so dark that everybody was coming at them in the campaign, and they decided to go ahead and reissue cards because they were like, this really isn't how we intended it. We approved them to be this much lighter, so this literally is not the product that we were to give you. So if you want, put your name down here, and you can we'll send you a reprinted deck. So,
oh my gosh,
which they did not have to do. That was extremely generous. And now I think the decks that were reprinted are the ones that are being sold. But yeah, my original one that I still have is a lot darker, so it's kind of harder to see. But it was a whole Kickstarter thing.
So that was your Tav, Allie?
Yeah, that was my Tav. I can't. My barbarian's name is Lena, but I didn't pick a deck for her because I hadn't. I'm not too far in that game because we only play that one when Josh wants to play, which. Is not as frequently as I would like, but whatever.
Fair.
That's what solo games are for.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my main tab though.
Gotcha. I picked a deck. Well, I picked the Dirge, but yeah.
Are we pairing up? Should we pair up?
Yeah, we should. Okay, yeah. So my Celestia and your Calypso.
I didn't pick a Calypso, but so do your Celestia, and then do you have the same Dark Urge I do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so do your Celestia. Oh my god, that's such a good pick for Celestia.
It's so perfect. This is totally Celestia.
Perfect.
She was such a good girl and also very elven and just
was a very bad influence.
That's perfect.
Yeah. But she started out as such a good girl.
She did start out as a good girl.
But Shadowscapes is just beautiful. I love this check edition that I trimmed down. It's perfect. But yeah, this is totally her vibe. It's kind of like the tarot of A Hidden Realm, but much more delicate and like feminine, in a way. So a little bit less wild, but still very elves and druids and this is perfect. As soon as this one occurred to me, I'm like, I do have a Celestia deck, so this feels very Celestia.
So Phoenix and Nemesis are both Dark Urge, and I think we have the same Dark Urge deck.
We do. Yeah. So your Anil deck is what?
My Anil deck is Stunning Tarot. Anil and Phoenix, we have headcanon with them. Like
we do have headcanon with them. We have
full-on headcanon with them. So Anil is, I think we're far enough in. We now know that Anil is an angel.
Yes.
She is the ruling angel over Phoenix, who is the summoned demon.
Yep.
So Phoenix is the Dark Urge. Yeah.
Yep. And I actually also almost grabbed a Dragony deck for her because of her Dragonborn.
Like her dragon lineage.
Dragonborn ancestry. Yeah. But Dark Urge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Stunning Tarot.
That's
the Stunning Tarot. So this is my Anil deck because Anil is an angel. She is, but she's not a very good one. And she really just doesn't, she really struggles with being good. It's really, really difficult for her.
Such a good pick for her.
But it's also very strong. She's incredibly blunt and to the point, and she's like, I don't know why you're doing this. She's also like headcanon why this is the first time she's ever had a human form, so she doesn't quite know what to do with that. So her body is like weird to her. People are weird to her.
Yeah.
And she's just like, back when we were role playing, she had a whole like interaction with I think she was trying to pet the dog and Shadowheart, and she was like, do I pet Shadowheart? Maybe that, because Shadowheart didn't like her. She was being mean to her. And Anil was pissed, and she like shoved her and was like, fine, I'm just trying to be nice. And then she was like, oh, but the dog likes it when I pet him, so maybe I'll pet her. And Phoenix was like, well, we don't pet people. No, that's not something we do. And this deck feels like that energy for me. Like it's very blunt, it's very to the point, but it's also like, this is her color palette. This is what she's wearing. Like everything in this deck is just totally her whole color palette. So there's that too. But when we do pull cards, which we do occasionally sometimes in that game, this is the deck I pull for Anil.
I like that deck. I have that version, and then the 4th edition that came out like the long style.
The long one.
I love using that version.
I miss that.
The cardstock is so soft.
Yeah. The cardstock's not great on this one. I do, and it's not cut properly. I need to mod it because it needs to be trimmed properly.
Yeah. It doesn't like to riffle.
I do love that deck. It does not like to riffle. It gets real mad about a riffle, which is fitting for Anil's character. She's like, no, I'm not doing that. You can't make me. And then we have the decks for the characters. We do actually use decks when we play the characters.
In Monsters,
In Monsters,
And so for Oblivia, I have, this is such a perfect deck for her, but this is the Zeke's Arcana.
Such a perfect deck for her,
The color palette is perfect, but it's also really weird and really like chaotic. And she definitely has the chaos energy for sure. So this brings
with all her wild magic. Sometimes she's a caster, sometimes she's a barbarian. She has no clue what she's doing. She's like, whatever I feel in the moment, that's what she's doing.
That's 100% what it is. I love her. She's probably my favorite character at this stage. Just I don't know. There's something so fun and uncontainable about her. Love it.
She is like wild magic in essence.
Yeah, she's
personified.
She is wild magic personified for sure. So okay, so my Jinx deck. So when we play, I play with the Eldritch Overload. And this is my Jinx deck because it's just like, it's kind of weird and a little bit like cyberpunky. This deck is like D&D meets cyberpunk. I freaking love this deck. And I don't like decks that have blingy shit on it, but I love this deck. And I love all the bling on it.
For that.
I love that deck, but I know that I wouldn't use it in hand. But it's cool, man.
Same.
It's the perfect Jinx deck because it's chaotic and it's kind of just like, it's not really what it's like. It's D&D, but it looks cyberpunk, right? It's not like really what it's supposed to be. And I feel like that's Jinx's energy. She's not really what she's supposed to be. She just doesn't want to be that.
Nope.
So, and it's colorful. And Monsters is
colorful.
We are colorful. Everybody else is in black.
Correct.
But yeah, we are.
That is the right way.
Yeah. So when we pull cards and then we get we play and we get the potions, and that's I got to do a healing action. So if you want to see how Lisa and I play with cards in game, that's the stream to watch. Is Monsters.
Yeah, Monsters and Mayhem.
Yeah, because that is where we actually use real cards and real dice, which is totally fun.
So fun.
I didn't pick decks for all my other characters. I saved you guys all of that because I have like 8.
I did pull this though because this to me is both together, the energy of Anil and Phoenix together.
Yep.
But
that is where the inspiration for our characters came from.
Yep.
When we were talking
the idea of the ruling angel and the demon.
Demon.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
and it turned out to be
good.
Perfect. Yeah, it's so good.
I think we went through we were going through the Notoria and the Goetia decks when we were planning those characters. I think we found Phoenix first.
Yeah, I think we found Phoenix first. And then Anil, I think I still remember you're like, as long as I can pronounce it Anil, Because of
Neil.
Neil Newbon.
It's like, that's
Okay,
kind of cool.
sure.
I mean, people are going to think I did it on purpose, but I really didn't. It's just, we chose Phoenix for Dark Urge, and then Anil is the ruling angel for that demon.
It's
like,
perfect.
oh, that's perfect.
It's
that's
perfect. And that laid out with Notoria is really, really good. I don't have Goetia, so I can't speak to that one, but that Oracle paired with the Notoria is, those readings will make you cry.
Yeah, it's really good.
That was so fun.
That was super fun. Yeah.
Thank you, Allie, for coming and hanging out with us and talking BG3 and all the characters. We love it.
Thank you for letting me. This was really, really fun.
Send me your list of your character in your deck, because I'm going to drop them all in the description box for people. So if they want to go see who had what and what decks we were talking about and sharing, I'll put that down there for everybody. And
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm sure we'll be doing more BG3 stuff at some point. It's going to happen.
Yeah, because it's hard to, yeah.
How can you not?
This is like half of what Lisa and I talk about on any given day. Like, we talk about real
1000%.
stuff, we talk about tarot, and then it always comes back to BG3.
Every single time. Every single
There's
time.
just so much to it. You don't run out of things to talk about.
You really don't.
True.
Nope.
Yep.